Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast, and I am broadcasting live from WLGI in Hemingway, South Carolina. I'm at the radio station today. Is the reason why you can't see my face, but I do want to say thank you all for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. Want to give a special shout out to everyone that checked out the last episode we did. And before we get started, I just ask that everybody that's checking this out, go ahead and hit that like button. Let everybody know that you enjoy the State of the Saints podcast. But we're going to be talking about the Saints' top free agents, two guys that are on the free agent list, unrestricted. And I'm talking to Terron Armstead, the left tackle of the New Orleans Saints, who has been steady over the last half of a decade. And you also have Marcus Williams, a guy who has been a ball hawk and safety in the secondary for the New Orleans Saints since 2017. And we're going to be answering the question, will we see these guys back in the black and gold? We're also going to be taking your questions. If you are new to the State of the Saints podcast, we are an interactive podcast. And if you put your questions down below, your comments, we will read those comments, and I want to say to everyone out there that may not know this, you can check this podcast out not only on YouTube, but on Facebook, as well as other streaming outlets. But let's go ahead and get started, man. Let's talk a little bit about the free agent list. We know these two guys, I'm talking Marcus Williams, Terron Armstead, are extremely important to the New Orleans Saints. I mean, Terron Armstead has been arguably the best left tackle in football when he's healthy. I think there's only a few guys out there that can challenge him. That is probably Trent Williams for the 49ers and probably Tyron Smith when he's healthy for the Dallas Cowboys. But he's definitely in the top three when it comes to left tackles. He's a guy who is really a leader on the New Orleans Saints team and has been for quite some time. He's a guy that a lot of people have a lot of respect for, fans as well as teammates alike. But, he is an unrestricted free agent. Now, there is an option where the Saints can actually tag Terron Armstead, but they already came out and said that they're not going to tag him. Neither are they going to tag Marcus Williams again, who played with a franchise tag on last year. He played I think he played on a $10 million franchise tag. But look, Terron Armstead, to me, he's a really good player. I feel like he still has a lot left in the tank, so much that I feel like a team is going to throw some money at him, money that I don't feel like the Saints can be able to make a counter offer for. It's unfortunate, but I really feel that the New Orleans Saints are going to lose Terron Armstead this free agency. There are so many other teams out there that need a left tackle. You think about the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, the way that Joe Burrow was getting beat up. You think about some of these other teams, that are out here, quarterbacks under duress, but I really, truly think that Terron Armstead is going to not play for the New Orleans Saints in 2022, and it's unfortunate. And I know some people will say, oh, man, he's always injured. He's always injured. But when he is in the game, that there's a level of stability at the left tackle position. And if he was to leave, it's going to be a huge hole. Now, I know James Hurst, he had a really good, solid 2021 campaign when Terron Armstead went down. James Hurst came in, played pretty doggone good. So I really truly think that James Hurst is a good left tackle. I think he's a solid offensive lineman. But to think that he's going to come in and be able to do some of the things that Terron Armstead could do at the left tackle position, I think you're playing yourself. Terron Armstead came from Arkansas Pine Bluff a couple of years ago. The guy ran a 4.7. He's extremely athletic for his size, and he can move around with the best of them, man. And not to mention that classic block that we seen on Christmas Day a couple of years ago against the Minnesota Vikings, where he pushed this guy to the cotton candy man inside of the Superdome. This guy is athletic, and he is going to be truly missed if he does end up not playing for the Saints, which to me, I feel like is not going to happen. Especially you have to look at Terron Armstead being 30 years old. I mean, you don't know how many years that you have left. This guy's played a lot of football, and you have an opportunity to get that last paycheck, that last contract, I should say, before you decide to ride off into the sunset. And I think that he's going to take advantage of that. I mean, he's made a lot of money with the Saints, but you can make a lot more because you play at a position that is very, very important. Left tackle is up there with the quarterbacks, is up there, with those top positions. You need a solid left tackle. So I think that Terron Armstead is going to end up not playing for the New Orleans Saints in 2022. And now we move forward to Marcus Williams. Marcus Williams came to the Saints in 2017 out of Utah. Was a ball hawking safety, 5 interceptions his rookie season. A lot of people, know about the Minneapolis Miracle, but he bounced back from that, became a solid safety, became one of the top 5 safeties, in football, according to Pro Football Focus. And he is an unrestricted free agent, which means he can go anywhere he wants. Jesse Bates, the safety from the Cincinnati Bengals, was franchise tagged on today. If you're listening to the show on a Tuesday, he was franchise tagged. And that means that Marcus Williams is the top safety on the open market right now. So there are some teams out there that are going to acquire, the services of a Marcus Williams. So the Saints going to have to pony up. Now, there are some guys out there that you can possibly replace him with. One guy in particular is we talked about, and he seems like he would love to, come and play for New Orleans, but that's the Honey Badger, Tyrone Matthew. Tyrone Matthew, we know what he is. We've seen him play at LSU. We've seen him play for the Cardinals. We've seen him play for the Texans, got a Super Bowl championship with the Kansas City Chiefs, and he loves the city. And he is more of a mature guy versus where he was when he was younger. I feel like him coming back to the city, he would embrace that and play at a top level. Tyrone Matthew is a guy that will give you, a certain level of production. You know what you have. You know that he's a solid safety, and, he's a beast out there. And also you have guys like Quantre Diggs, a guy who has been in the league for quite some time out there with the Seattle Seahawks. He's a solid safety as well. So there are some ways that you can kind of maneuver around the loss of a Marcus Williams, but I really feel like the Saints are going to try to re-sign Marcus Williams. I think that, and I mentioned this on the last show, I think that with Dennis Allen being a head coach, I think it benefits Marcus Williams because Marcus Williams has played in a Dennis Allen defense since he got with the Saints. And I think that there is a relationship between he and Dennis Allen. And I think that Dennis Allen will probably try to speak up, try to talk with Mickey Loomis to say, let's try to get this guy back with the team. Now, there's going to be some appealing teams out there. There are a lot of teams out there that need some safety help. One team in particular, we don't like them, but it's the Dallas Cowboys. Another team would be the Atlanta Falcons. Another team out there would be the Las Vegas Raiders, which I feel would probably be a good fit for him, being that he's a West Coast guy. He's from California. I think he'll fit right in. And, of course, I mean, you have guys like, the Chargers who probably need some help. I mean, Derwin James is a good safety, but he's always hurt. So there are some places where Marcus Williams can go. And now, once again, Jesse Bates getting the franchise tag, he is the top guy out there. So there are going to be some teams that are going to be willing to back up the Brinks truck to get Marcus Williams. But we know Marcus Williams is one of those guys that plays at a position that the Saints historically have not paid that much attention to. I mean, you have to go, you can date back to the great Sammy Knight. I mean, when Sammy Knight was out there, when Jim Hassler was the head coach and the Saints had a really good defense. I know some of y'all probably remember that team when they had Norman Hand and Joe Johnson and Leroy Glover and Sammy Knight. I mean, Sammy Knight was the hard-hitting safety out there, but instead of them giving this man his money, they decided to send him to the Kansas City Chiefs. You fast forward a couple of years, Malcolm Jenkins, was pretty solid for the Saints, up and down, kind of similar to that of a Marcus Williams career. But he goes out there to Philadelphia and becomes a leader, wins a Super Bowl. Then the Saints decided to not pay Von Bell. Von Bell finds his way to the Super Bowl this past season with the Cincinnati Bengals. So historically, the safety position has been that position that the Saints have not been willing to give money to. But I just think that the dynamic of Marcus Williams, his ability to catch those interceptions and almost has hands like a wide receiver, I think that it will help him because with Marcus Williams, you have the ability to create turnovers. And that's something that the Saints have been lacking over the last couple of years versus last year. Last year, they finally started to get it together. The technique of the secondary started to improve. But there was some years where the Saints wide receivers, well, not wide receiver, but cornerbacks could not turn their heads around, and they couldn't get their hands on the ball. I mean, Marcus Williams was one of those he was that one guy that can get his hands on it. So the way I feel, I think that they need to re-sign him. But that's the way I feel like it's going to go. Of course, if you don't sign any of these guys, to me, it's going to be a huge void, in the Saints team when these guys, if they were not to return. But I want to say thank you all checking out the State of the Saints podcast. Really do appreciate that. Those that just filed in, I'm going to go ahead and go to some of your comments, see what you all have to say. Zane says, what do you think, TJ, about Armstead and his various injuries over the last few years? Well, I think that it's unfortunate that he's been injured. But if you look at some of the top left tackles in football, the ones I mentioned, Trent Williams, he's had a history of being injured. Tyron Smith has had a history of being injured. Teron Armstead has had a history of being injured. But I can tell you this, when those guys are absent, you can tell. And when they're playing, you can tell. So, I mean, injuries are part of the game. All right. I mean, it is what it is, man. Guys are going to get hurt. I mean, when you're playing left tackle, offensive linemen, guys are rolling all over your ankle and stuff like that. I mean, you're going backwards. I mean, it is going to happen. Injuries are going to occur. But I don't look at that as a knock on him, because when he's in a game, you can tell. And when he's not, I mean, you can tell also. That I said that before. I mentioned Michael Thomas. I said, Michael Thomas, what makes him great is not so much about his production. I mean, that's good, but his ability to even be a factor when he's not present. And I think that we all can admit when Teron Armstead was not out there on the offensive line, you can tell. When Trent Williams is not there on the offensive line for the 49ers, you can tell. When Tyron Smith is not out there on the offensive line for the Cowboys, you can tell. There's a difference. And he is a difference maker. And, I don't look at his injuries as being a knock on him. I think it's a testament to his greatness, because we know that the offensive line of the Saints looked like trash this last season. I mean, I'm just being real, man. I'm sorry. Well, I'm not sorry. It was horrible. I mean, it was laughable. This was slapstick comedy watching this offensive line without Teron Armstead out there, as well as Ryan Ramczyk. I mean, Cesar Ruiz, somebody's cracking a joke right now. They were talking about Calvin Ridley, betting on game with 3 parlays. Some people said that maybe Cesar Ruiz had 5 parlays, the way that it looked like he was giving up the way he was giving up sacks, right? So I don't know how true that is, which I'm pretty sure is not. But, I mean, it was terrible, man. It was terrible to watch. It was horrible to watch, man. It was like watching the Red Sea part. You know what I'm saying? And that's not a good thing if you're a quarterback. Lord help me if you don't get a replacement for Traquan. Well, look, anything of any minimal production would be a replacement for Traquan. Look, I like Traquan Smith as a person. He's a decent guy, cool dude. But at the end of the day, his production and where the Saints expected him to be at this stage of his career, I mean, you have to say it's been a failure. I could say that Traquan is decent. All right. Do I think that he can, stay in the league for a couple of years? Yeah, I really do. I think that the way that Traquan can run, I think it can benefit him if he goes to the right team. So I think he can get a few dollars out another team, but he has been in the Saints uniform a disaster. Okay. The Saints didn't expect for him just to be a guy, right? I mean, they expected for him to be 6'3", 210 pounds, and they expected for him to go out here and be able to run. I mean, this guy ran like one of the top 40-yard dashes in combine history. Dude was a blazer. And, he was that at Central Florida. He was the guy that took the top off the defense, which I never understood to this day why the Saints didn't use him the way that Central Florida used him, but I digress. But in a Saints uniform, he was not good. I mean, his route running was minimal. I mean, saying it looked like he was, counting the route tree in his head every time he ran out there, never really played fast. The only benefit that you had when Traquan Smith was out there was his ability to block on the edge. That was basically it. You know what I'm saying? On the outside, if this is a stretch play or a toss play, you know that you could probably get a few yards if Traquan is pushing back a cornerback. But besides that, I mean, the dude left a lot to be desired. So anybody that comes in and gives you any type of minimal production would be better than what Traquan is giving you. Traquan Smith has missed 5 touchdowns, right? That's pretty much what he averaged throughout his Saints career. Okay, that's cool and all, man, but what about that yak? You know what I'm saying? What about the big games? What about when, Michael Thomas was down? What about when a team needed you to give that type of production? He didn't do it. And, if I'm a GM or a guy that's making the decisions and pulling the strings, I have to say that Traquan Smith is not on my agenda. He's not. No disrespect to him. I think that he can play. I think there's a place in the league for him. But based on where he was drafted, based on what we thought his potential was and where we expected for him to be, especially in the absence of Michael Thomas over the last 2 seasons, you would expect for Traquan to be better than what he was. So to me, I have to say you have to go in another direction. But it wouldn't be hard to find his production. All you got to do is find a guy that can catch maybe 2-3 catches a game. All the talk about Aaron Rodgers coming to New Orleans is dead. Yeah, I've seen that. Aaron Rodgers recently signed a 4-year, $200 million contract with the Green Bay Packers, and that's absolutely no surprise to me. I never expected for Aaron Rodgers to leave the Green Bay Packers. To be honest with you, I never expected for him to go anywhere else. And the reason why is because we seen Jordan Love, right? I mean, he's not very good. And I can't believe a couple of years ago I got mad that the Saints didn't want to draft him for Cesar Ruiz. I mean, look, both of them, to me, looking like some straight scrubs right now. But they've seen Jordan Love play, man. They put him in week 18, and this dude couldn't even move the football. Dude is not very good, okay? I'm pretty sure that he's going to get traded because, look, you sign a 4-year deal. I mean, it's pretty much the writing on the wall. It's saying that, man, you're not our future. I mean, you had 2 years. It had to be something that they were seeing inside of practice that showed that maybe he's just not the guy. He's just not that dude. And when he had the opportunity to play in games, I mean, he left a lot to be desired. So they saw that, and they're like, oh, man, we're in trouble. So they decided to re-sign him. And Aaron Rodgers, he knew that, that shows you like the arrogance that Aaron Rodgers has. Aaron Rodgers knew that. He knew that they were, playing with their hands behind their back. He knew it. I mean, this guy goes into practice. He sees this guy. He sees this guy in the film room. He sees what time this guy shows up. He sees how this guy can read the defense or lack thereof. So he knew it. And he knew, like, man, y'all need me because who y'all going to get? Him? I guarantee you, man. I guarantee you, if Jordan Love was the starting quarterback in 2022, the way that he plays, the Green Bay Packers would be fighting for a playoff spot, or better yet, they wouldn't even be in the playoffs. I mean, and he knew that. So congratulations to him, man. And I have no problem with this. Some people talk about Aaron Rodgers. Oh, man, he overrated. He overpaid. Look, Aaron Rodgers has done absolutely nothing more than what these NFL teams do when they try to create leverage for these, to try to lowball these football players. I have no problem with that. These owners, these organizations try to lowball these players. They want all this production out these players and don't want to pay them anything, right? And if the player decides that they want to go rogue or march to the beat of their own drum, here come a story about them. Here come a controversy about them. So I have absolutely no problem with him using leverage, going out here doing some of those things in order for him to maximize his portfolio. I have no problem with that because teams do the same thing every single year, and we turn our heads as if it didn't happen. But let a guy like this do it. Oh, he's selfish. Oh, he a diva. And he is. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, look, Aaron Rodgers is a jerk. Like, there's a reason why this dude, like, doesn't have a real relationship with his family. Dude pretty much a loner. I mean, he has an ego, which, every player in NFL, in my opinion, does. But, he wears his emotions on his sleeve. He doesn't sugarcoat things. And, and on top of that, now, he's good. So it makes it even worse because he know that he gives a service that many players can't give. It's almost like when you're rich and successful, right? When you're rich and successful, you don't have to listen to nobody really. Like you can do whatever the heck you want to do. It makes people mad. You're probably a jerk. You're probably mean. But at the same time, like, you can be that mean. You know, you shouldn't, but you can, because you know that you don't need people for that. They need you more than you need them. And he acts that way. And because of that, he's able to get contracts like he did today. So people can call him anything you want, which I have on a few shows. But one thing you ain't gonna call him is broke. And that what T.I. say? I don't care what they call me, as long as they don't call me broke. Do we go defensive lineman with the first pick? I want a wide receiver, but the defensive line from Georgia would be a good addition to the D-line with that 4.7 speed. Look, we need to get a wide receiver. It's just as simple as that. The Saints need a wide receiver. And I understand what Jordan Davis did. That's impressive, 340-pound man running a 4.7. But I think that they have bigger fish to fry. Okay, the Saints only allow maybe one 100-yard rusher in the last 2 seasons, or two 100-yard rushers in the last 2 seasons. So to me, that defensive line is pretty doggone good. You know, at stopping the run, being able to, you know, get pressure on the quarterback. Now, you can always improve in the A gap, of course, but they need more improvement at the wide receiver position than they do on the defensive line. And also, not to mention, you got a guy in Peyton Turner who can play outside and inside. And if you have not noticed, they also had Davenport playing outside and inside. So you have ways that you can, you know, get guys on outside, inside athletically, and those guys can stop the run. They're really good at what they do. So there are ways that you can kind of work around that. But when it comes to wide receiver position, there's no way around it. You need help at the wide receiver position. You need guys that can catch the football. You need guys that can win their one-on-ones. You need guys that are fundamentally sound, that can make those contested catches, that can go out here and get yards after the catch. That is the Saints' main objective, if it's my opinion. But here's the thing. If the New Orleans Saints, when the new season starts, if they go out here and they sign a guy like DJ Shark, or they sign a guy like Christian Kirk, you know, you sign somebody like that, that gives you a little bit of wiggle room to go out here and get yourself a defensive lineman or offensive lineman. I think based on what we see when the new league starts, when the new NFL season starts, whatever direction the Saints go in, I think you can dictate how they're going to do in the draft. If we see them re-sign Jameis Winston, then I think most likely we can just completely eliminate the fact that they're going to sign a quarterback. If they go out here and sign a guy like Christian Kirk or DJ Shark, then you most likely probably feel like they're probably going to go offensive line. You're probably going to say bye-bye to a guy like Terron Armstead. You know, they probably get O-line or defensive line or something like that. So I think based on how the season starts, you know, as far as the free agency, the free agent frenzy, I'm using air quotes right here, it depends on how that goes. That's how you know what the New Orleans Saints are going to do. So it's basically, you know, you have to wait. It's wait and see. Like, all this is just speculative right now. But I think once the season starts and we see these guys signing guys and we see guys, you know, like, you know, going to different places, I think we're going to have an idea about what the New Orleans Saints are going to do this 2022 season. Special shout out to Hoodie Jew. Hoodie Jew reached 600 subscribers Monday night. Congratulations. Yeah, man. Shouts out to Hoodie Jew. Man, he had Jameis 1 of 1 on his show on yesterday, man. I checked that out on my way to work. That's a good listen, man. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe to the channel, Hoodie Jew on YouTube. Yeah, man, I checked it out, man. Good stuff right there. Good conversation with Jameis 1 of 1. So if you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so. Also show a little love, man. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all showing love to him and give it a listen, man. Good interview right there. Saints know how to develop offensive linemen. Would not be surprised if Landon Young is a starting offensive tackle in a year or so. Well, I would do you one better. I think he's going to be a starting offensive tackle this year. He showed a lot of promise, man. And he only played one game, and it was in a Carolina Panthers game. But he was one of the best on the offensive line. I want to say it was when Eric McCoy was hurt, when you had Cesar Ruiz out there sliding around like the ice capades. He moved over to the guard position, and he played pretty doggone good. But the thing about Landon Young is he played tackle at Kentucky as well, man. So who knows, man? Maybe he can be that next left tackle. He goes in there, compete with a guy like James Hurst. James Hurst is a guy that you can kind of move around. He's more of a chess piece. So if he goes in there, have a really good campaign, he gets stronger, he gets a little bit more physical. Hey, who knows, man? Maybe Landon Young would be the answer to the Saints' problems. But you won't know until, maybe training camp will start. Franchise tag Williams and see if we can get picks. Bradley, I don't know about that. Look, man, the guy signed a franchise tag last year. I don't see the Saints giving him a franchise tag this year. I want to say it's probably going to cost them in order to franchise tag him this year. And I really think that this dude is probably going to make some spills this time. I think you probably be setting yourself up for a holdout. I don't want to see that. But the thing about it is I feel like it would be well within his rights. I mean, we don't want to hear that, but it's the truth. This dude went out there, put his body on the line, his career on the line by playing on a franchise tag all season long. Nobody really negotiated a contract with him. Nobody talked about a contract, but he just grinned and bared. He went out there and he did what he had to do. He counted on his representation to come through. And I don't want to see this dude do that again. I want this guy to get a long-term deal. I don't care if it's not with the Saints because I care about these guys' livelihood. You know what I'm saying? We look at them like, oh man, we look at it for the what's in it for us as Saints fans, right? So get sign him to a 1-year deal. But if this dude goes out here, you know what I'm saying, like somebody run him over, something like that, he takes a big hit, he next thing and I'm knocking on wood when I say this, we see guys like Ryan Shazier and we seen guys like Johnny Knox. These guys get their careers taken away from them in an instant. So, like you're going out there and you're gambling. And I don't want to see that, man. And I would love to see Marcus Williams in the Saints uniform for the foreseeable future, but I don't want to see that man playing on a franchise tag. I don't care if he's not with the Saints anymore. This guy has earned the right to get a long-term deal. He has earned the right to continue his career in the National Football League and have some type of financial stability. And I don't want to see it with a franchise tag. Might sound good, but the dude already played on one. He already proved to you that he's dedicated to the team. He's already proved to you that, I'm all in. So why can't you show him that you're all in with him? I mean, I don't want to see that. I'm sorry. Do you think this would be aggressive in the draft? And do we go and handle business, get a receiver in the first round of free agency? Well, look, you can't go wrong with either one. Personally, if you want to draft a guy, it's probably easier to do it that way because you have a guy playing on a rookie deal versus a veteran that comes in. There's veteran minimums that you have to deal with. So to me, I would try to draft a guy. I'm about culture. I'm about instilling culture inside of a guy. So if a guy is a rookie, he comes in, you draft him, you're trying to embed him into the culture versus a guy who probably came in, probably played for this team, that team. There's a way of going around it. And you got to kind of get him to buy in. With rookies, they only know one way, and that's the way that you're trying to teach them at that particular time. So I'm more for, drafting a guy, putting him into your system, putting a scheme around him, something that he's comfortable with versus a guy that, been in the league for quite some time, never know what you're going to get. Guys are different when they get money. You know what I'm saying? When they get paid, it's different when you have a guy who hasn't proven anything yet versus a guy who probably has proven something. And now you just give him money. I mean, you're basically taking gambles on that. But with rookies, these guys want to come in and try to establish themselves as some of the top guys in the league. So they come in with a chip on their shoulders. And we all know that, that's pretty tough right there. You know what I'm saying? Like a guy who comes in, probably have a little fanfare, but hasn't proven anything yet. They got to prove something versus a guy who probably been in the league and done a few things. It's crazy. Saints get Ohio State Buckeye players and Ohio Cincinnati gets Saints players. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy, right? But because they come from there, right? Like if you get Ohio State players, they probably from the state of Ohio, right? So the Cincinnati Bengals probably watched these guys play when they were at Ohio State. So, I mean, Yeah. Probably watched him, throughout their entire, high school career, college career, NFL career. So Landon Young is a beast to me. I think that I think he has a lot of promise. I don't know about beast yet. I got to see more, but I did see something that you can build on. I read an article saying that the Saints are interested in bringing in running back Melvin Gordon to New Orleans. Your thoughts, TJ? Look, I like Melvin Gordon. In his career, he's been injured quite a few times. When he was playing for the Chargers, I mean, he stayed hurt. When he played with Denver, he had, he kind of got better, got a little bit more healthier. I wouldn't mind having him here, especially since you don't know what Alvin Kamara is going to do. I mean, I've seen an article that, his lawyer showed up in Las Vegas court today, and Alvin Kamara in Paris. But anyway, you need somebody that's going to come in case he gets suspended, and Melvin Gordon can give you some type of production in the absence of Alvin Kamara till suspension is over. Right? It's 2 games, 4 games, 6 games, 10 games. Nice. Hoodie Jube got 600 subs. He is the only Saints content creator that has a late night YouTube show, interactive, like to talk to the fans. Very friendly, awesome guy. Yeah, man. Yeah. That's a great lane right there, and he does a really good job, man. He does a really good job. And that's most of the important things. That's one thing that I pride myself on here. It's being interactive, talking with you all, interacting, and giving people a voice, that's very important. And he does a really good job over there with doing that, man. So shouts out to him. Trade Pete for some picks. He's injured every 2 minutes. He's not going anywhere, man. I'm sorry. He already restructured his deal. So that tells you everything you need to know, man. He's not going anywhere. He restructured his deal. He's there. Eagles need a free safety and strong safety. They could use Marcus Williams. Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few teams that can use a guy like Marcus Williams. That was a squad when Sammy was there, TJ. Yeah, man, they were really good defensively. I mean, you had Mark Fields out there. I mean, they had some talent, man. They had some talent out there, in the defense. The offense, what I'm saying? You had Joe Horn, you had Willie Jackson. I mean, you had some decent guys. You had Boo Williams out there. I mean, you had a little bit of talent offensively. Deuce McAllister was still young at that particular time. I think he was in his first season. You know what I'm saying? He had a young Deuce McAllister. So yeah, they had some talent, man. That defense was really good. But I just think that they probably needed a better coordinator at that time because that defense was a championship defense. Thoughts on getting Jordan Love for a second rounder? Man, if this was a couple years ago, I'd probably say yeah. But based on what I've seen in Green Bay, the fact that, you got an offensive-minded coach in Matt LaFleur, the fact that you are backing up a legend like Aaron Rodgers, and yet you still playing like a scrub, there's only one thing that I can say to you, and that is... Hell no! To the no, hell to the no. Nah, that ain't happening, man. I'm sorry. That ship has sailed. Let me see. But Lewis also said, okay, I finish up your question. You're talking about Jimmy G in case we can't resign Jameis. Jimmy G, I'm for Jordan Love, man. He had to prove something to me. Man. I'm always skeptical when I see guys who play for teams who are offensively driven, who have offensively innovative coaches, and I don't see no promise coming up out that thing. And I haven't seen it. Man. And, I got to see it from Jordan Love. Maybe he needs to go into a different circumstances. Maybe he might turn into a beast. I don't know. But what I've seen, it's not much you can build on over there. It's not a coincidence that you resign. If Jordan Love was think about this. Okay, so the Kansas City Chiefs, they got Alex Smith from the 49ers, right? And Alex Smith was steady, man. He was steady. You know what I'm saying? He was making the playoffs. Wasn't going to win you no games, but definitely wasn't going to lose you none either, right? But then all of a sudden in 2017, here comes this kid named Patrick Mahomes, can make all the throws, you know what I'm saying? No look passes. I mean, just freakish arm talent. What did they do? They sent Alex Smith to Washington, right? They via trade, you know, and they said, man, this dude got something. The next thing you know, the next year as a starter, Patrick Mahomes became league MVP. If you know that you have something, you're not going to waste it, right? You know what I'm saying? The Chiefs knew that they had Patrick Mahomes. They knew that they had the future in their hands right there. So they allowed Alex Smith to leave. If Jordan Love was all that in a Hot Wheel track, if he was all those in a bag of Doritos, then no way in the world Aaron Rodgers would be sitting here today with a 4-year, $200 million contract with $153 million guaranteed. That tells me everything I need to know that he did not pan out the way that they thought he was going to be. He did, you know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. If Jordan Love was in practice, making all the throws, if Jordan Love was out there with some crazy arm talent, even if he wasn't where Aaron Rodgers is right now, but you start to see some promise, there's no way in the freaking world that Aaron Rodgers will have that contract today. This is all because Jordan Love is not what the Green Bay Packers expected him to be. Aaron Rodgers knew that. Matt LaFleur knew that. The Green Bay Packers knew that. And that's the reason why they signed it. Hooded Jew, thank you very much for the 199. Says, what up, TJ? Here at First Job listening to you. Man, appreciate that, Hooded Jew. Man, appreciate it, man. And good job on the show, man. I enjoyed it, man. It brought me to work. My commute from my house to the radio station is about 40, 45 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So I really enjoyed it, man. You and CT Crusher over there doing your thing, man. Shouts out to CT Crusher as well. You know, do good work, passionate about the football team, man, knowledgeable. You know, that's a good combination right there. Y'all do good work, man. Stay with our QBs this year and rebuild our wide receivers, O-line, and secondary. After next season, we build our quarterback. Look, man, who's to say, Bradley, we haven't built our quarterback with Jameis? Like, I'm telling people, man, I'm telling you. If you expect for the Saints to be the only game in town that wants Jameis Winston, you are sadly mistaken. And I think that's like we are treated Jameis Winston as if he just should be happy and he should be thanking his lucky stars that the New Orleans Saints even paying attention to him. Teams want this dude. Like seriously, teams want this dude. You know what I'm saying? I've heard this behind the scenes. They want him. You know, so anybody that just thinks, oh man, it's just a layover. Oh man, we're gonna deal with Jameis for a year and then we send him on his way and then we bring somebody else in. No, man. Look, the dude deserves an opportunity. He deserves it. Anything that we may feel about this guy, you know, I feel like he basically last season in a shorter sample size showed you that there's some things that you can build on with him. And I just don't understand why people are just trying to just throw this man away, you know, or make this man like seem like he's just expendable. I just want this guy to get a fair opportunity. If the Saints, if the Saints not going to get this dude a fair opportunity, I'd rather him go somewhere else. You know, I mean, it's just that's just the way that I feel. I don't want them to just use this dude like that. If you're not serious about this guy, if you're not committed to him, if you don't see him for the foreseeable future as your starting quarterback, allow that man to go somewhere else where a team is going to justifiably and willingly give him opportunity to be the best quarterback he can be. Not because I want to wait until a guy like Matt Carroll improves. Not if I want to sign, I don't know, Jordan Love and maybe that'll pan out. Nothing like that. Give this guy opportunity or give this guy, ammunition to say, man, okay, man, we're going to go in another direction and give him ammunition to walk. But don't be playing with a guy emotion saying, oh, man, we're going to rebuild. We're going to sign him today and then we're going to rebuild later. No, man, don't make this dude a bridge because I don't think he looks at himself as a bridge. He doesn't play like a bridge. He doesn't have that mind frame like a bridge. This dude looks at himself as a starter. He bets on himself. He believes in himself. So as long as he has that mind frame, dude is a starter in my eyes, and he's going to be treated as such. Unless he goes out there and just stinks it up to high heaven. But as of right now, from what I've seen, based on what I've seen in the Saints uniform, the dude looked pretty doggone decent. And I think that he deserves a chance and more than a 1-year deal. Man, Cam Jordan and Aaron Donald in the middle. Why does he refuse to play inside? The guy is almost 300 pounds. He's Hall of Fame edger, but he could be one of one at defensive tackle because that's not his thing. You know, I mean, Cam Jordan is an incredible, talented defensive end. Has been a really good run stopper throughout his entire career and became an elite pass rusher later on in his career. So I have no problem with that, man. If it was one of those situations like a couple of years ago, you had Larry Fitzgerald, all those years playing in Arizona, playing on the outside. He started to get a little bit older, started to slow down a little bit. So you had Ken Wisenhunt came to him and said, hey, we want you to stay with the team, but we want to put you in the slot. And Larry Fitzgerald got mad. You know what I'm saying? Larry Fitzgerald got mad. He got upset. He got frustrated, but he was like, man, I'm going to embrace that. And because he went into the slot, he had on about 6-7 more years in his career. It's not one of those situations. Cam Jordan is really good on the edge. He's been good on the edge. He consistently is good on the edge. So there's no need to change that, right? You know what I'm saying? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it is broke, then try to find ways to fix it if you want that to stay here, and you want to maintain him. But the dude's still as productive as any other pass rusher in the league at the defensive end position. So I say don't move him. If he's happy with that, he has a system, and he's still out there balling, leave him alone. Find somebody else that can play defensive tackle. Find somebody else that can be on there on the inside that can, be a monster in the A-gap along with Davion Yamada. I don't think that you should do that to Cam Jordan. Not at this stage, not the way he played towards the end of the season. We need a wide receiver before Mike T was even injured. We just been getting away with it because he was healthy. But now since he's been down, you notice all the flaws even more. So it's good to fix it while you're ahead. Yeah, this is the most important thing to me. Look, if you got yourself a transitional phase going, I always say this, man, the best friend of a young quarterback or a new quarterback to the team is a good defense. The Saints have a really good defense. So the defense can be the catalyst as of right now until you restructure and build up this offense. Build up this offense. That should be your primary focus, man, and build on what you picked up where you left off last season defensively. But you can't do anything. This offense was horrible last year, man. I mean, man, honestly, man, I didn't know if I was watching football or baseball some Sundays. I mean, they could not move the football, man. It was slow motion. There was a reason why I dubbed those guys in the middle of the season the 3-and-out boys, right? Because it seemed like defense go out there, make a stop, 3-and-out. Here come the defense again. They need to build this offense. They need to get themselves some playmakers. They need to get some guys that can move the football. And they need some guys that can get the yards after the catch. And they need some guys that can go out there that play with their hair on fire. That's what they need in the Saints organization right now, offensively. They need to improve. So there should be nothing more important to me at trying to build and restructure this offense, because last season was god-awful. I mean, awful. Like, it's been a long time since I've seen the Saints offense look that bad. I had to think back, man. I had to really think back the last time I seen some garbage like that on the field, man. I mean, that was a sorry display. Chosen says, I'm not trading Taysom. That's too much dead money. I might as well keep him and use him as a weapon instead of having him and taking that hit on the cap. I think there's a place for Taysom Hill, and then what are you going to trade him for? Like, what are you trading Taysom for? What y'all think y'all can get, a second round, third round pick for Taysom? It's not happening, man. You might as well just use Taysom in that Swiss Army roll and have him throw the ball every now and then the way it was when Drew Brees was here. That's just the way that we need to do it, I mean, I don't think, look, you're not going to get top value for Taysom Hill. Hey, TJ, you're right about Aaron Rodgers, but at the end of the day, Jameis is the answer. but if Jimmy is available, he is number 2 choice. Yeah, Jameis to me is the answer, but I also would go with Jimmy Garoppolo. If, like I said, if things don't work out with Jameis, I wouldn't mind having Jimmy Garoppolo as an alternate. Cam knows how to keep containment. We know that he's not in the game when a run play goes for some yards to his side. Yeah, like I said, man, that's the testament to greatness. That when you are absent, you can tell. By maybe somebody running to your side if it's in Cam Jordan's case, or if a guy drops a pass, or offense can't move, Michael Thomas is not there, or you can't run the football in between the tackles, or can't catch the ball out of the backfield when Alvin Kamara is not there. You can tell. There's a reason why these dudes get paid the big bucks. I say sign all your defensive guys back and draft all offensive players. That still would be tough, man. You ain't gonna be able to keep everybody. You're just not. You're not gonna be able to keep everybody. So that's just the honest truth. That's just the name of the game. That's just the business. That's the breaks. There's a reason why teams change and you see new faces and new coordinators, new coaches every single year, man. I mean, the wheels keep turning. So you're not going to be able to keep everybody. But what you want to do is you want to keep those core players, those guys that can be considered cornerstone players, guys that you can build around. And if you keep those guys, then you will have years of consistency. But if you start to lose guys that are you lose guys of importance, that's when you start to see teams not make the playoffs. That's when you start seeing teams being fourth in their division. That's when you start seeing coaches, coaching carousels. That's when you start seeing stuff like that. So if you keep your cornerstone players, you can build on, some of the things that you lost. And people keep saying Saints don't need an offensive weapon. I want a wide receiver in the first round. The Saints definitely need offensive weapons in the first round. Anybody saying that, I question their football IQ. Will the Saints draft a running back or sign a veteran in free agency? I would say they probably draft a running back, probably in the later rounds. I think you're probably going to see a guy come off the board. So, yeah. Taysom can run a ball if Kamara is suspended, but he's not going to be an every down back, Manny. You're still going to have to find ways to try to, run the football. I don't think you're just going to put Taysom back there and him having 23, 24 carries. And I think, honestly, man, I think we need to get away from that too. I understand that Taysom serves as a weapon, but, man, you want some consistency at these positions where, it don't become so freaking obvious. You remember like earlier in the season, I know some of us tend to forget, but it was just getting pathetic. It's like, okay, we see Taysom in a game, we know he gonna run it, right? It wasn't like until like maybe that Giants game we seen him throw for the first time, and that ended up being an interception. But it was like he always ran the ball, and it's like, man, we know it's coming. It was almost like the 2014, 2015 Saints. When you seen Robert Meacham in a game, you know it's going to be a streak route. When you seen, Tavares Cadet in the game, you know it's going to be a run out of the backfield. It was so obvious what they were trying to do, and it was so obvious when you seen it with Taysom Hill. So to me, I think the Saints need to get away from being Captain Obvious. Allow Tate, and I feel like if you do that, then that makes Taysom Hill an even bigger weapon. It makes them an even bigger weapon because you don't know what angle they're going to come from. So let's try to focus on making the offense and getting offensive players that can do what you need them to do. So when Taysom does come into the game, it doesn't seem so predictable, and it doesn't make the Saints as one-dimensional. TJ, what happened to the Nike TV deal that was supposed to help the cap situation for all teams? You know what? I don't know. I don't know exactly what happened with that. I'm not too sure. I have to ask about that. But I know they're supposed to have a TV deal coming through. Supposed to help out everybody. And the cap's supposed to come up tremendously. So I don't know about the Nike deal though. Would you cut Malcolm Jenkins? No. I mean, because what would you gain from that? Nothing. I don't think that you need to cut him. And honestly, I think Malcolm Jenkins is still good enough. Still got enough in the tank for him to, stay there. And I also like the fact that that he's a leader and he's helping some of these younger guys find their way. So I don't think you need to cut him. You wouldn't gain anything from cutting. Who would you keep and who would you let go? For the players that's supposed to leave, as far as cutting, I mean, I wish I can bring all these guys back, but if I couldn't, I would say I would keep Marcus Williams. I will allow Tyrone Armstead. Unfortunately, he will have to be a casualty. Quinn Alexander would probably be another, person that I cut or let go or Traquan Smith is another guy. I keep Deontay Harris. I keep Dwayne Washington because of special teams. PJ Williams, I keep him as well. So those are some of the guys I keep. Tyrone Armstead, I just feel like it would be a little bit too rich for your blood. Quinn Alexander, I believe in P. Werner. I think P. Werner is going to be much better this second season. And if you notice, you start to see the production of Quinn Alexander kind of dwindle as P. Werner started to kind of find his way and he started to get healthier towards the end of the season. So I think that P. Werner, if he stays healthy, he's probably going to make you not forget about Quinn Alexander because, the dude is a presence. But as far as production, he probably, give you something that, you'd be like, okay, I miss Quinn, but I can understand why they went in this direction. Jaguars and Dolphins are expected interest of getting Terron Armstead. Well, that would be smart, okay? Because, and I put it to you like this, if Terron Armstead goes to the Jaguars, then the Jaguars are getting Aiden Hutchinson. You know what I mean? if he doesn't, then they're going to get Evan Neal. So either way it goes, if they get Terron Armstead, then they're going to get Aiden Hutchinson, the defensive end out of Michigan, because they already got somebody that can help Trevor Lawrence, stay upright. So you're going to find out, this whole free agency thing is going to play itself out. You're going to figure it out from a Saints standpoint, from an NFL standpoint. You're going to see how teams are going to approach the draft by what they do in free agency. And to be honest with you, if I'm the New Orleans Saints, I'm trying to sign some of these guys that can walk right now before the league starts. You know what I'm saying? Before the league season starts. And look, man, I think we all are smart enough to know that tampering goes on. So for people man, ain't nothing going on, tampering, this against NFL rules. Man, you think it's a coincidence that free agency starts, or I want to say a 16 or something like that, and all of a sudden a dude just comes in with a brand new team with a 4-year, $100-some million contract? Come on, man. How are you that sure? That team talked to you that day and you signed? Come on, man. Give me a break. These guys are talking to each other behind the scenes. I'm pretty sure Marcus Williams is probably on a tour right now in Vegas. They're not fooling anybody, man. We know that these guys are talking to each other beforehand. They can't sign the dotted line, but they for sure having these conversations behind the scenes, and these teams are telling these guys what they're willing to give them. Well, it could be just so happen like Brian Flores alluded to. Hey, can you meet me on a yacht? Well, what do you want to meet me on a yacht for? Oh, man, let's just hang out. Let's talk about the team. And it just so happens that Marcus Williams is on the yacht too. Wait a minute, Marcus Williams, didn't you play for the Saints? Yeah, man. But how's everything going? What are the Saints trying to offer you? Just come on, man. Give me a break. These guys are talking to each other. So, they're not just talking to the clubs they actually came from. Hoodie Jude, thank you very much for the $4.99. Says, don't forget yesterday NFL announced cap move of 208 this year, which means we will get an extra $26 million to play with, so we can sign most players back. Well, that's a good thing. But also restructuring deals and stuff like that can give the Saints a little bit more wiggle room. And I like the way the Saints move, man. Shouts out to Kyle Harley, the guy that's over the finances, the guy that does the books with the New Orleans Saints, has done a tremendous job. I mean, stretching pennies, squeezing it into, you know what I'm saying, and exhausting it to, I mean, it can't even breathe anymore. But he does a really good job. And shouts out to the executive team of the New Orleans Saints. Really smart, intelligent guys inside of there. Always getting the Saints guys that they can compete with for championships every single year. Eugene says, I need to meet these people who don't believe we need offensive playmakers because I don't know any of them. Eugene, I don't know them either, man. I really don't know. I really don't. I really don't know at this stage, like, why would anybody even think that the Saints don't need any help offensively? Man, you got to be high to believe that they don't need help offense. Derek says, cut Kevin White. I think Kevin White only signed like maybe a 1-year deal, so I think he's an unrestricted free agent. I don't think he's still with the team. You know, it was just one of those guys that they signed. TJ, what do you think about moving Malcolm to linebacker and have CD and Marcus at safety? I don't think Malcolm Jenkins would be good. I don't think he would be good at the linebacker position. The fact is, I mean, he playing safety. It's probably the position, the one position on defense you can play if you're not the fastest guy in the world, you know. And I think that fits him perfectly. You know, some people don't remember Malcolm Jenkins was a cornerback. You know, he was a cornerback, and you know when the Saints drafted him, and he played cornerback his rookie season, the year that the Saints won the Super Bowl. But then they, you know, changed him from cornerback to safety, and the rest is history. So I say leave him where he is, man. I say leave him where he's at, you know. And then sometimes, I mean, he does play a little bit of linebacker, you know. I mean, based on like how they set him up, but I say keep him at the safety position, man. And also, man, with C.J. Gardner-Johnson, I mean, he's a good nickel corner. I mean, he's really good at what he does. So, I mean, you don't want to take him away from that, you know, just for him to get to his primary position, in which, you know, he technically is supposed to be. I mean, you get safety production out of him as well as nickel production. So, I mean, it's probably going to cost you, you know, during, you know, negotiation time, because his contract is about to come up. So, you know that the Saints are going to pay him. That's a guy that I know, like, that's a guy that you need to pay. He's a guy that you need to pay. You know, I'll pay him before I pay any of these other guys we're mentioning right now. If he was up in between all these guys, he would be my number one choice to pay. TJ, I'm going to need the guys over at Saint Finances to do my taxes next year. Dudes be saving that money. For real. They definitely be saving it. Keith says sign Amari Cooper. I think Amari Cooper going to be in demand for a little bit too much money for the Saints to sign him. I can see Amari in Atlanta. I can see Amari in San Francisco. You know, there's some teams out there right now that need wide receivers. And wouldn't surprise me, man. Wouldn't surprise me if Amari Cooper ended up going to Atlanta. I mean, especially with all the stuff going on with Calvin Ridley. You might see him, you know. Might see Amari Cooper in a Falcons uniform. And plus, I think that'll be perfect for him, man, because you go to a team that's not high profile. You know, nobody checking for no Falcons. You know what I'm saying? Now you can just kind of fly under the radar, and you can be that kind of, quiet person, person that, nobody really pay that much attention to because you play for the Falcons. Don't overlook Callaway. He's going to really – he'll be a really great wide receiver 3, especially with Mike T coming back. I'm not looking past Callaway at all. I know Callaway has great capabilities, but I also think that those capabilities are going to show when nobody really paying that much attention to him. I mean, look, you're going up against the top cornerback of every respected team every single week. And you just wasn't built like that, man. You did, not yet. I don't even know. Maybe he could grow into being a really, top receiver where, he's demanding that number one every single game. And honestly, I think that it probably did him some good as well, because you got an opportunity to learn and grow going up against elite competition like that every week. Everybody doesn't get that chance, especially being an undrafted free agent. I mean, you getting the number one attention every single week. So I think that you can learn from that. I mean, there's a lot of film that you can go through. There's a lot of things that you can work on that can make you better. So we all know that iron sharpens iron, right? So I'm looking for him to come into next season much better than he was last season, because now you have some things that you can build on, and there's some things that you can do to make you better, and you also have that experience as going after, having a number one trail you. So when it was number twos and number threes going up against you, you can be like, man, I went up against Jair Alexander, man. I went up against AJ Terrell, man. I went up against Carlton Davis. You can say that. So I feel like there's that level of confidence that comes with that. Teflon, I think Allen Robinson is looking to be a number one receiver. I wouldn't mind getting him, but I think he wants to be the guy, and he deserves that chance. Yeah, Chosen. Look, Allen Robinson deserves number one money. He's a number one receiver. It's not his fault he plays for the Chicago Bears, where they can't throw a party, on somebody's birthday. Allen Robinson is good. He's talented. He just needs somebody to throw him the football. I'm going to take a few more, and then we're going to get up out of here. But it's been known for years, Cam rather edge versus inside. It's 2022 edge rushers are more TJ Watt, Michael Parsons, too much speed for tackles. Cam would abuse all guards in NFL, extend his career. Look, I'm not saying that you're wrong, James. I'm not saying that you're wrong. You're absolutely right. I see the advantages. I see what you're talking about. But, look, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And, this guy's been in the league, going into like his 12th season, and he's been consistent. So I don't think that, it should be at that particular point. Now, some of these other young guys that come in, if you want to get yourself a linebacker that can put his hand on the ground, also stand up, a la Michael Parsons or, a TJ Watt, knock yourself out. But, with Cam Jordan, you're still getting consistency. Rather, he has his, either he's inside or outside. So I just say, just to me, just leave it alone. But, you're definitely right. I think there are advantages for it. And we'll end with Keen Arthur said, TJ, people underestimate the experience you can get from being dominant, but the best in games are in practice. It lets you know where you are and what you have to do to be better. Yeah, it helps you. You benefit from that. Callaway is going to benefit from all those number one that he had to go up against all year long. So I'm looking to see how he's going to develop. How he's going to build himself up in order for him to be better than he was in 2021. But I want to say thank you all for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. I see Hoodie Jube donated again. Thank you very much for the $4.99. Says, oh, no, you not. You got to hold it down till I get home, man. You just messing, man. Great show, and have a great day, man. Thank you for shouting me out. Hoodie Jube, thank you very much for the $4.99, man, and keep up that good work once again. Appreciate it. You stopping by. And thank you all for stopping by the State of the Saints podcast. I ask that you hit that thumbs up. Let everybody know that you enjoy the show. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com, search The State of the Saints podcast, facebook.com, search The State of the Saints podcast, and previous episodes available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Anchor FM. Also a part of the Pigskin Podcast Network. Till next time, all I got to say is, who dat?